Streaming from Madison, Wisconsin and Minneapolis, Minnesota. Straight to your personal devices. Available on all major platforms and YouTube. This is the Armchair Analysts podcast. And here are your hosts, Ace and Johnny.
Howdy, listeners. As you heard, this is the Armchair Analysts podcast. We are your hosts, and we are here to take you on a spectacular journey today.
Yes, we are, Johnny. How's it going?
You know what? I had a rough day, but it sounds like yours might have been a little more rough. You're not sounding that good, buddy.
Stop. Yeah, I was going to say, I've been staying up late, playing video games with some friends, Rocket League recently. And
well, that sounds interesting.
I'm kind of getting the hang of it. I'm getting the hang of it. I'm really feeling like I'm excelling at this sport, and I might, we'll see where it takes me. But no, I'm feeling, the throat is not good.
Yeah, you got to take care of that body, man. You got to look out for numero uno. No one else is going to.
Absolutely.
We're older now. We have to take especially good care of our bodies.
Once we finish this up, it's still going to be light out too, so I think I'm
look at it. It's beautiful. But we digress. So, pretty fun episode. Pretty excited about this one. I mean, obviously, with the big news is, March Madness starting, which we're all pretty stoked about. And obviously, free agency for the NFL. Those are the two biggies, so we're definitely going to cover those. Go a little bit more into specifics about the Packers and the Vikings a little bit. Then Ace is going to give us his recipe for the salary cap. Because, you know what? With the salary cap going down this year, everyone's going crazy about, well, how can we do this? Dak got paid. How do we do anything? Like, there's a lot of things that go into the formula for salary cap, and not all of them are as crystal clear. But if you notice, a lot of people are restructuring and, redoing deals and incentivized
more about the cap hit.
It's the cap
contract.
Correct.
Yep. Yeah.
Correct. So, Ace will go over that for us, which I'm excited for because he's the numbers guru of us too. So this will be nice. And then for most of the show, we're just gonna be talking about the free agent frenzy, and then Ace wants to compare it to something he's currently going through now, online dating. But we'll hold off. No spoilers. We'll save that. That's gonna be fun to talk about. So random rant for this week is gonna be very, very topical as we see a slew of news stories, breaking news, contract deals, contract updates, releases, trades, what have you. Also, retirements. They're all coming from Twitter and Instagram now. And I know that maybe even 15 years ago, that would still be pretty crazy to think of. It's like, well, why would I be on my phone looking for news? And people, right. I still get people say, like, oh, why do I get a Twitter? It's like, man, it's messed up. It's messed up, but the news is all aggregated to your cell phone now. So you don't actually have to turn on a TV. I mean, back in the day, we had to watch, local sports coverage, ESPN, what have you, just to see what the heck's going on. But now, I mean...
And even further back, the radio.
I mean, I didn't sit by my radio waiting for news. I just saw it in the paper, but...
or the paper.
Yeah. I mean, maybe we're kind of dating ourselves, but it's just crazy to think all of this stuff is just look for Schefter's tweets. You just look for, the new tweets coming out, and seeing people retire or make official statements via Instagram is still very, very weird to me. It's very, very weird to me. I yeah, like I don't know, like. If you're like a surefire NFL Hall of Famer, is Instagram your platform of choice for releasing that information? Like I don't know. It just seems kind of crazy to me, but yeah.
They have
so
the biggest following there, though. That's the thing. I mean, they have the biggest, and it's probably their most loyal.
It's streamlined though too, right? Like you send that that out, and then everyone's gonna pick up on it, and then you can just kick back and have a scotch late at night, like
and
you
it's
were.
So easy to take a screenshot. Yeah.
Look what happened! Look what's happening! But this has been the case for at least for Twitter and NFL. I know that a lot of other sports are pretty looped into it too, but that's kind of just how news is spread. Because it's like, I don't know about you, but I haven't watched like a full cycle of SportsCenter in years.
100%.
Like I'll watch a little bit with Scott Van Pelt. You know, I'll
Yep.
chime in every once in a while, but I'm not sitting to watch a full rotation of it. You know, so I mean, and then with stuff happening, I mean, it's not even the league year yet, and we're seeing just a slew of just tons and tons of activity. So, I mean, push notifications, Twitter,
it's funny. Who the hell is somebody said this on another podcast I was listening to, Michael Lombardi. This stuff happened in the past. It's just like no news coverage was really, and we're locked down still. A lot of the country's still locked down. So it is kind of funny how like nationally everyone seems to be kind of all on the same page as one when it comes to especially football.
I think now though, like it's literally like you can go like right now. I'm on the ESPN free agency page, and there's literally a separate block on that homepage for every single signing. That technically hasn't even happened yet. Keep in mind,
Correct.
these are all unofficial until they're official. So, but every single, I mean, there's just so many, and I also have push notifications for NFL on my phone, so every single time that's any of that kind of stuff happens, boom, bing, 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 which is fine because I'm not going to spend the time to go through everything, so just seeing it, like, oh, maybe I'll remember that.
What do you think? Is there any long-term negative impacts, or like how do you? Because it's helping their personal brands a lot, but
You mean the players?
the players.
Oh,
yeah,
for doing that? I mean, just the over-reliance on social media as it is, like, that's obviously not good. It's obviously not great that, you know, we're not consuming traditional media now. We're just spending more time on our phones. I feel like it could backfire. I mean, you got to remember all the bad things that happen with social media, too. Like, it's really nice that they're helping their brand, but, you know, you see you see a video of somebody doing something stupid, and they can start circulating. They tag them into it, and all of a sudden it's viral. You know, so I mean, there's a lot of bad things with social media too. But I mean, I think we've covered those a couple times before already. So, but I mean,
interesting topic though.
Yeah, I'm sure it's something we can dig up again. So I think it might be time for you to do a little bragging here. The old Gopher hockey team, huh?
Oh,
Some
I
Big
didn't
Ten
watch the
action.
game, so I knew they were playing, but yeah, they put on a show. They put on a show apparently 6-4. We won the Big Ten title over the Badgers.
After you got swept in the regular season, which is also, I remember you talking about that. You're like, I don't know how this happens, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I mean, you win when it matters, I guess. I don't know.
Apparently.
I can't even feign being a fan of hockey. Not that I don't like it, but I don't keep up with it. Like,
correct.
Had that push notification not come through my news feed, I don't think that I would have even known. To be fair, like this is like right after the Big Ten tournament's done and March Madness about to start. That's when I stopped watching Big Ten Network as it is. So I mean, like it's not even in my streaming package anymore. Like I'm done. But no, it's cool, and I know because I mean, not that I want to say this, but I was seeing someone that went to U of M. And just hearing some of the people, like they're very, 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 very passionate about their Gopher hockey team, right? So,
oh gosh, yeah, it's like Badger football when you know the night before you're not. It's just like a whole better aura than any other sport, I think.
Sure. Well, I mean, they've had continued and sustained success over the years too, so that helps obviously.
Yeah.
It's easier to cheer for a winner than a perennial
they're
loser.
champion.
They're champion.
Well,
albeit Big Ten champion.
And I know they've had Phil Kessel comes to mind. There's been another Blake Wheeler. There's been a ton of NHL talent coming out of the program.
Oh, ton. But just
I can't.
So many.
I have no clues who's on this roster, so it doesn't even pay for me to kind of divulge into it right now because I'd be embarrassing the heck out of myself and doesn't give us any credibility. Well, it does. Armchair. Yeah. Just tons of credibility.
We're not implying that we know anything. That to be
Exactly.
fair. But moving right along, chugga choo choo. NFL. Well, we can talk a little bit Badger basketball too, actually. So for the third time in 3 weeks, Iowa and Wisconsin matched up in Big Ten coverage.
And for the third
this time, hey, there were two things I said that were going to happen. I didn't say it on the podcast, but I had my bold tweet for the day was that Demetric Trice would finally find a shot and Potter would have a big game. Well, both of those things happened. Trice actually led the team in scoring, and they still lost. So, but the thing is, it's like, even if we got past them, we weren't beating Illinois. So, I mean, I don't even know if we would be able to beat Ohio State because, for whatever reason, this particular Badger team is terrified of ranked opponents. I don't know why, but they absolutely cannot play with a ranked opponent. So, I mean, it's no skin off my back. It does hurt the seeding a little bit. Badgers now, we're going to, actually probably the day when this comes out, Friday at 6:10, they're playing the Tar Heels. So, obviously, I had to text my dad immediately since he actually is very close to the campus. So,
winner plays Baylor. Yippee.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. It's like, as cool as it would be, it's like, yeah.
That sigh right there, I'm going to cut up that sigh right there and use it.
What about this cheek biting and my inability to make eye contact after that?
The old man.
Like, the problem is like, so this team is very senior heavy. There's a lot of young talent, but like they still have so many seniors too that it's hard for them to get playing time. Jonathan Davis has been doing a good job, but it's hard to make a big impact when you're getting limited time, right? So the future, as the Minnesotans say, the future is bright. Next season will be great. But right now, the starters are very senior heavy, so it's gonna be hard if they go one and done or don't even beat NC. I mean, I don't know.
That's an interesting matchup.
It is, because you have two totally different but the thing is, this isn't the Tar Heels of old, right? Like, these guys, they're still a good team, don't get me wrong, but it's not like,
James Worthy and Michael Jordan.
Okay, well, I mean, obviously it's not that. But
Tyler Hansborough and Felton.
Big boy.
Lawson, Ty Lawson. Remember those two, I think, played?
Jeez. Wow. Good trip down memory lane, actually.
Yeah. I'm good for something, right?
Occasionally, yeah. But I don't know. It's really bittersweet. I mean, Davison, Ford, Reavers,
Did you fill a bracket
Potter.
out yet, by the way?
I'm in process. I'm going to be drinking later, so I'll be able to do it tonight. But, yeah, like I said, there's just a lot of seniors. It's like, I don't know. I could watch Brad Davison play for 10 years and it'd be fine. Also, I was just out of curiosity, because I remember you made a comment. You were saying that, we can't keep any of our state or our talent in state. I'm gonna count off the amount of Minnesota players are on the Badgers roster right now. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
How many are starters?
7. We have 7 on our roster.
How many are starters?
I mean, obviously Davison, yeah. Not a ton of starters. No, it's I mean, so it's Reavers and Davison for starters, but
we've always grabbed the inner city talent.
Three. I lied. 3 starters. Tyler Wall too from Lakeville, Minnesota.
Yeah, see.
And also Nate Reavers, and then Davison.
We don't want those type of players in our system, sadly.
No, you don't want players that'll do well. I got you.
I mean, I think it's a shame because these guys are obviously talented enough to play at a top D1 program. So it's like the fact that we let anyone get out of the state is kind of a criminal. But at the same time, look at what just happened. Patino, we let go of him. He's got a new job already lined up. You can't fault him for doing that, but it's like, we have no identity as a team, and we're going after these JUCO players, so the turnover is constant every year. We don't have a program like yours or like Michigan State's.
But see, okay, there's good and bad things about that. So the Wisconsin, it's very methodical, right? Like, it takes a certain type of player to excel in that system, and it's the same way with Badger football. Like, it's ball control. You're limiting turnovers. You're controlling the game, and like the Wisconsin game is very slow. It's very methodical, precise shots, good defense, and as I said, like limiting turnovers. Like, they literally led. The only times where they were having a lot of trouble I think I can't remember. It was like they averaged like 8.8 or 9.8 turnovers over the whole season. And then, whenever they look like they're in bad shape, it's like if you're just tuning in, it's like, well, what's going on? It's like, oh my gosh, they have 15 turnovers. Well, there you go. And you start missing a few shots, and all of a sudden, well, that's why you're down by halftime. So
Yeah.
I feel like you couldn't just grab like a national talent and be like, just throw him in there and he'd be okay. You have to. It takes a different kind of player, a little more selfless player, I would say, arguably. But I mean, someone's still got to take shots, though. That's the thing. Someone still has to take shots.
Mm-hmm. Man, that was a lot.
Man, do you know me? I could run my mouth. All right, so let's.
Yeah.
I know that we should cover NFL free agency. We're getting very, very sidetracked. Big notes, at least for Green Bay. The sombrero returns. Aaron Jones is back.
What are your thoughts on Corey Linsley? Because I'm going to insert that.
Linsley, I knew it wasn't going to happen after Jones was signed, obviously. So the Jones deal, by the way, is very team friendly. And honestly, even though it's for, I believe, 4 years, I'm not totally sure he's going to be with us that whole time. Linsley, as soon as that came out, Linsley was definitely a cap casualty. I thought it was going to be the other way around, honestly, because the Packers don't pay running backs, right? We broke that trend, but Linsley, I need to see if this is a credible source. And I think I mentioned this to you last night too. Okay. Apparently, he was talking to former Packer lineman Brian Bulaga, who vouched for the Chargers. And because, the word from a former Packer in the similar position, he's like, that sounds like a good idea. I'm going to head down to the Chargers. So, but also that deal is insane. He's one of the top paid offensive linemen. Like, great. Obviously, he's an all-pro, a fantastic player, definitely well-worthy. But there was no way the Packers were even going to be able to sniff that, right?
I don't. In a market where not a lot of, because of the salary cap restrictions, there's not a lot of teams bidding on these players. So they didn't. I don't think they needed to drive it up that high. But
no, but that's what free agency is, right? Like, you're overpaying for something that's a known commodity. You're not taking a flyer and giving them, like a 3-4 year deal. This is the time where you're overpaying for something because A, you want it, and that it's a proven commodity. So, I mean, but the nice thing is though, like, so they ended up tendering Robert Tonyan, which is another big piece of the offense. But the thing is now it's like, that's fantastic. The offense is settled. The offense, not totally the problem in our playoff losses. Obviously there were some issues in the red zone. Don't get me wrong. That was some uncalled for stuff. But I mean, it's ultimately the defense that's going to be able to make or break us in the playoffs. So those are the three big names. I'm sure there's going to be plenty more to come. There's rumors out the yin-yang here, but I'm not going to say anything because, A, no one's going to hear this for a couple days, and B, who knows what the validity is. But
correct. Great point.
How'd them Vikings do, Ace?
I was going to say the Vikings, on the other hand, signed D tackle to make up for losing Shamar Steffens. They signed Dalvin Tomlinson. Kind of a nice name, actually. Dalvin Cook combined with LaDainian Tomlinson. We signed a linebacker from the Chargers, Nick Vigil, and then we re-signed Rashad Hill. We obviously, due to cap constraints, we got rid of Riley Reef, who we had to restructure his contract last year to fit him on the team. And then obviously this year it wasn't even it was foregone conclusion we were going to get rid of him. There's no identity and there's nothing sexy about anything we've done that makes me see the team absolutely no different. There's really no hope. And I mean, got to wait until the draft too, but we're like, well, dude,
I shouldn't say there's no hope for your team. That's not great.
We might have to edit. I'm not going to edit that out either. I think it's just let it flow, right?
That's how you feel. That's how you feel, man. That ultimately
came. Well, I think it's like this. We'll talk about the cap hit and all that stuff later, but it's like I mentioned earlier, you're seeing how the Patriots, how aggressive they are.
Oh my gosh.
They had so much available cap space.
Sure.
But you're also, look at what you're seeing them do. Why they got 2 tight ends. They got
2 of the top tight ends.
the interior line, it's like they're do you know what they're doing? They're building from within the core, that core, and then they're expanding out. It's like
Yeah,
they
but
want to be the best
also
at the
they brought back Cam Newton, so
yeah, that
still a
makes
good. There's still a very good chance they could draft one, but they seem to be comfortable with Newton, and they're surrounding him with pass catchers as well. I mean, because he could not throw the ball last year even remotely effectively without turning it over or stalling drives. So I think it's a combination. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like there's only like 3 other teams that had any kind of cash like that, and the Pats just simply outbid everybody. Like we don't care. We're getting these players. So
it's starting to look sort of like basketball. I hate to say, like how many teams? Is there a max number of teams realistically that have a shot at winning the Super Bowl next year? Don't you think? Isn't it crazy to say that?
I mean, how is that different from any other year though? There, as much as they want and still parity in the NFL, parity will never be a thing in the NFL. There's been a couple years where it looked like it, but there will be divisions that look strong for a long time, but then were garbage like 10 years before. Like everyone's like, oh, the NFC West, oh, it's so competitive. That was a very bad division for a long, long time. Like a very bad division.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't know. I understand, but that's kind of how it is, right? Like the whole reason that we get excited about this kind of thing in the offseason, it's the unknown, right? Like Tom Brady, this time last year, we just found out that he's going to Tampa Bay, and what was our topic? Like, he could either be the most epic meltdown of all time, or he could, bring them back to the Super Bowl. Ha ha ha, we don't really believe that, but we're saying it. And then it happens. The unknown of free agency, the unknown of, these trades being worked out in the new league year, and then the draft, it's like, it's the whole reason that you get to start fresh and you get hope, right? It's why Bengals fans like, you know what? Joey Burrow's going to be healed, and we're going to stick it to the Steelers and the Ravens. Boom. So.
My point is I'm a realist, and I know we haven't won a Super Bowl ever, so we're going to get our chance eventually, but I just don't see it happening
Not in your lifetime, maybe. Not in my lifetime.
Yeah, shut up. I was talking like short term, 5 years. At the end of the day, it comes down to managing the salary cap well, and if you can get a QB in his rookie contract, i.e. Pat Mahomes, and get there, or Russell Wilson, get there right away and prove that you can win one, that the rookie, those contracts are going to just explode for quarterbacks. And everyone talks about wanting to get their money. Every player that's asked, hey, what do you think about this contract? That's awesome for that. Like, they're all saying the same thing. So inevitably, that's only going to just drive the prices up even further.
Well, and they keep raising the cap. Up until this year, the cap had been going up steady.
Yeah.
About $10 million every year for the last, 6 years. So, I mean, that's not helping things. So, yeah, that's totally correct. All right, so we went through Packers, Badgers, Gophers, Vikings. Everything's grape. Would you mind going over briefly your recipe for the salary cap? Just because it's a huge topic and it's going to be for a while. And obviously this is a very unique year, so maybe just breaking down that little formula for us would be beneficial.
I think it would be cool to I'm going to post the graphic up here as I talk it through to be able to see it better. But the salary, so the cap hit is it's so confusing, but it's a part of 6 different factors on your salary, on the contract you sign. It's the base salary, the signing bonus, the roster bonus, the workout bonus, the option bonus, the restructured bonus. All of those factors, if they're in your contract, that is what equals a cap hit against a team each year.
Meanwhile, we're happy just to get Christmas bonuses.
How random is that's part of the problem. It's like, this money, where is this money coming from, and how is it those items that are the ones that go against the cap? Like a workout bonus, restructured bonus, and other. There literally is one that's other, or option bonus. What does that even mean? So it's, at the end of the day, it's kind of pathetic that the teams don't try to bring back their players. Riley Reif, I think, should have still been on this team. Regardless, he was one of the top left tackles. And is Kirk going to feel comfortable getting used to another left tackle? I don't know. We'll find out. But this voice and my tone don't sound too optimistic. It's like I'm going on a little random. Sorry, go ahead, Johnny.
You were telling the cap formula and you just stopped.
Oh, you're right. Sorry. That was the equation. Sorry, the equation is cap hit equals base plus signing plus roster plus workout plus option plus restructure. It's a mess. The whole point is that it's a mess how they even get to that. But that's.
But
what
it
goes
also
against-
gives them all that flexibility too. Like when they say that they're restructuring, which evidently they get a bonus just for restructuring and being amenable to change, which is great. But all of that, like that's how the Packers were able to shift stuff. They restructured like 3 different contracts, probably another one coming. And now they're able to make these moves, whereas before we were worried about the constraints of, the cap hit. So, you know what? I'm going to address the nasty cheesehead elephant in the room. Are they going to restructure Rodgers' deal? Because that is a lot of cash. That is a big cap hit. And everyone and their mother, all the other captains are getting restructured. So I have a reasonable expectation that it would be beneficial to have Rodgers' contract restructured. But is he like untouchable at this point? Like, are we not?
Yeah, is he amenable to that?
Are we? Don't take my words. Is it like an unmentionable? It's like, ooh, no, he's our golden god. We don't upset Rodgers. Like, I feel that can't be true because we drafted a quarterback in the first round, but it also can be true because why hasn't happened already? Like, are we so afraid of scaring him off?
That is a recipe for disaster because that is not a. Here's what happens. If you restructure his deal, but you don't tell him we're gonna want you involved with personnel decisions, or maybe not involved, but help. Like we'll let you review offensive. Like we'll make an effort to get offensive players, right? Yeah, sure. Maybe he's willing to restructure, but if they're not going to make commitments like that,
but they already did though. They already brought back Tunyon and Jones.
Okay, but is that enough though? I guess is my point. Like,
it's better than losing them. They're both locker room presence. They're both homegrown talent. Like you can't let those people walk and expect Rodgers to be cool with it. I feel like that had to be a part of it.
My point is like Brady is proving that he'll take these reduced salaries, and it seems like he's having. Either he's talking to players outside of the scope of the operations,
which is technically illegal,
or something. Yeah, he's bringing in guys that he wants clearly.
Yeah, but I mean, no one else is willing to take that salary cap bump. We talked about that. Like he's the anomaly. He's not the standard. Like he's the exception, and I've often pondered that too. But as we said, no matter what, money almost always wins out. Like 99% of the time. 99 as in J.J. Watt's number, who we thought was actually going to pick a contender, and then went for somewhere for money. Yes, I'm a little butthurt still. I'm sorry.
I know, that one does hurt, because he would have absolutely fit in.
It's all right.
So perfect.
We can do it on Madden. We can put it on Madden, and it's fine. All right. The final point, the final topic. This was your idea, so I'm going to let you run away with this one. Go ahead, Ace.
Yeah, free agency frenzy, which we alluded to earlier. But it's a mix of that with the concept of online dating, which, yes, I'm being a single guy. I'm, active in. Don't need to get into which
Bumble.
Hey, I just said.
J-Date.
That was once. We don't need to talk.
It's fantastic.
The point is with free agency, you're mixing in, like John alluded to earlier, rumors. You never know what's true coming out of there, right?
Yeah.
And just flirting, constant flirting everywhere. This team or this agent or this player or these guys are working out. Like, however it's happening, there's a bunch of flirting going around. And you know what? Circa 2021, our 21st century online dating world, it's 100% like that. It's a lot more, everything is a lot more in the open. So like you ever been on, John's been with his girl way too long, but you can see all the people.
Way too long, right. 5 years.
Okay, whatever.
That is a decent amount of time. That's a decent amount of time.
The point is, it's to the point where you can see communication with everyone, right, that you've talked to. So it's same thing on their end,
Well, the transparency is not really there for the teams, though. I mean, obviously, teams aren't going to outbid themselves unless they have to. But, like, you have to generally assume that a list free agent is probably talking to a handful of teams. And that's why they have agents. They're buzzing around, talk to you, put a feeler here, talk to you. Oh, what's that offer? We don't want that. Oh, I like that one. So they got different rods in the pond. They're recasting every once in a while just to see what's out there, make sure the bets. And I can see the parallels. I don't envy it. But at the same time, it's like you're like, who should I sign with? But then who are your prospects talking to?
Hey, we all get meals at the end of the day. Or
at least but who pays for those meals? Yeah, I know that this seems like a really like crazy free agency, but honestly, historically, like there's always a few teams that have just a crap ton of salary cap, and then the Packers have always been up until the Gutekunst era. They've always been like draft and develop. Occasionally, they'll sign a Hall of Famer. Free agent a la Reggie White, Desmond Howard, Charles Woodson, but before them times and after them times for a while, there wasn't really a whole lot in between.
No.
So I mean, now that the fact that they're keeping their talent, because that was a thing too. It's like the Packers would get, like Casey Hayward's a great example, who's now a free agent and also another rumor. Micah Hyde, all these players that we've had, we tried to develop and then we let them go. Maybe not always the most horrible decision, but like Demarius Randall, we played him at corner for years and he just couldn't get it, just wasn't a good fit. Let him go. He goes to Cleveland and he makes the Pro Bowl as a safety. So it's like, maybe we don't really know what we're doing, but like the talent, like the scouting's typically good. It's just like the development seems to have issues. But it's a different era, man. I mean, now like you've had multiple teams show that if you go and spend in free agency and you already have a really strong core, you can win the Super Bowl. Granted, Tom Brady led that team, and the Broncos, they went out and spent in free agency. They did have old Noodle Arm Manning back there, but it was that defense that won the Super Bowl by far. But I mean, it's hard to say like if the Pats dumping hundreds of millions of dollars in total contracts, on like 5 players, like is that going to pan out?
I brought up the whole point is there's a ton of free agents available more this year because the salary cap hit than a lot before, and just running through a few that are on the list. So Kyle Long, by the way, was retired. I think another guy that should get signed, I'm surprised he's not yet, Kyle Van Noy. He got let go by the Dolphins, which I thought was sort of a strange move after literally just signing there last year. So yeah, overall the tee-off topic was supposed to be around just, talking about what's available, the free agents, available and how it ties into online dating. And I think if you look at the ones available, we're talking about an A-list group here, sort of, in some positions. For instance, Kenny Golladay, where do you think like him or Juju, where do you think some of these receivers go that are really in their prime, but could also take a 1-year prove? A lot of these guys, I should say, not just the receiving class, but a lot of these guys could take a 1-year prove it deal, potentially knowing the salary cap will jump back up. I know it's a risk, but for a Kenny Golladay or for a Will Fuller, who's always injured, that might be a better option than trying to stretch for a long-term deal,
Give Will Fuller some credit. He did get suspended last year for a while, for like half a season. So
that's right.
it's not all injuries. There's
by the way, that was PEDs, right? He got suspended 4 games. He came in 20 pounds heavier. So what the like? It
only took him half a season to figure out that he was juicing a bit. Nice.
God, yeah.
The wide receivers are hard because it's teams seem to have a couple different philosophies, right? So either you have a proven quarterback that needs weapons, so you're reaching out to get whoever you can, unless you're at Green Bay, of course, or you have the idea that you're going to get a young guy and you want to make sure there's someone to throw to.
Yep.
So I feel like there's still a decent amount of teams in that camp. I know that maybe teams might be looking for just like an upgrade, like just like an age. So maybe I know the Colts got some cash, and T.Y. Hilton might not be coming back, so maybe a placement for him. But there's also a good amount of wide receivers in this draft. That's a little more top heavy than years past, but I don't know. I think that Smith-Schuster is probably going to have a lot harder time than we're thinking he will. just because it was really hard to see him in a role. But like, he went from having Antonio Brown pulling all the targets to all of a sudden he's the number one, and it just did not pan out how we all thought it would. I drafted him in fantasy. I definitely can relate. But this year, apparently everyone on the Steelers, everyone that they draft everyone that they've drafted as wide receivers just like came up and just decided to play. So
yeah,
it feels like. But the thing is, like, he's still a very, very good slot receiver, but he's just not going to be your number one guy. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of deal he gets and where he goes. But I have no idea, man. This has been a really weird free agency. Seeing the Patriots spend this much money when it's like they haven't been in that position for forever. You know?
I bet. Think about this for a second. Let's get in Bill's mind for a second. Don't you think that he probably knew last year this was going to happen? Like, no, I'm not talking about COVID or anything. I'm talking about the fact that they'd have so much available salary cap, and the fact that they had players sit out last year. They're actually stacked in a lot of different positions, and I feel like this is them attempting to go after either drafting a quarterback or because they needed inevitably. What's the difference between Cam Newton and Andy Dalton, or Cam Newton and Nick Foles, or Ryan
they just want a gap filler for now, so they can build out the rest of the team. But I mean, honestly, their drafts the last couple of years haven't been that fruitful. So, and obviously they knew that this offseason they're going to have a lot of cash sitting around, right? So they basically this last year they just kind of toughed it out. We'll see what happens. We'll try out some new guys, see what they do. You know, they had a couple big players sitting out, and then they obviously lost quite a few players in free agency, and you know, it wasn't a good year. And that division had a good showing too between the Dolphins and the Bills. So I don't think this is like, I'm not worried for Belichick, but like little belly tally. But I don't know. Like you think that with all this kind of spending, there has to be some master plan. And no, don't get me wrong, I still think that he's a very good coach. I just don't. I don't know what the plan is. Like they're signing like it's a win now kind of thing. But it's like I can't see Cam Newton just leading the charge. I don't know.
Who's got a better roster right now? Also the Vikings or the Patriots?
For one game, for a season, for a playoff push.
If the Vikings play, shoot, I wish it was closer to the season. Because if I were to ask, like, the Vikings, if they were to play the Patriots right now, who would win?
One game, neutral ground, Vikings. If you're playing in Foxborough at night,
so then why aren't we? I know we're strapped for cap. Like I just wish we'd actually take more of an effort to try. Our defense is basically over the hill right now, and
not really. You got little babies. You got toddlers at cornerback.
Oh, true. But we'll see how they did play well. But either way, I digress. I think the reason I brought up the whole point was the fact that Belichick and Kraft have been like at the hip for decades, it seems like, right? I don't know how, like, maybe there's a frickin' 30 for 30 or some sort of sob ESPN's documentary that comes out later about their cheesy relationship, but there's no identity with the Vikings, so it's really hard to like rah get up and root hard, you know, when you don't really. It's like they talk about our defense being great, so we went out and signed Cousins, great, and now we're just kind of like stalled. Almost.
I appreciate your input. I will respond with a saying that I will forever remember. The season, the NFL championship, is not won in March or April. That's all I'm going to say.
Amen.
We're armchair analysts, and we're obviously going to nitpick every little thing that we see, but in all honesty, we got to have faith. We got to have faith in the front office. Maybe me a little bit more than you, it sounds like, Mr. No Identity / Identity Crisis. But right. All right, final note here. I do want to maybe just talk about how sad I am. Jamal Williams signs with the Lions. The Lions! Get out of the division. Get out of the conference. It's really sad. Lovable guy. Really great energy. Awesome presence in the locker room. The Lions are going to have a good player in him. And I will repeat, the guy has never fumbled in his NFL career. That is insane. Wow. I just hope they don't crush him like they do every other back. But then also it's like, well, hey, like, don't run us over, you know. Like, if he goes for $150 against Green Bay, like, not going to feel super great about that. But
Yeah, especially twice a year.
right? Oh, yeah. Oh, you did great that one game. Oh, we get to play you again. Fantastic. But that's neither here nor there. That's just, I don't know. That just, it kind of made me sad. Like, it was a good, like, I was excited about the signings and the moves, the restructures. And then I saw that and I was like, damn. That kind of hurts. But hey, better than I'm going to the Vikings, I always say. So.
Hey, and I'm gonna be more positive about them next week. I apologize, listeners, for.
Yeah, you're wearing black like it's the Vikings funeral already. Come on, buddy.
Oh man, I didn't even.
Alrighty, that is our episode this week. Thanks everybody for listening. Hope you liked the new intro and outro. I kind of do.
I do too.
And as always, we gotta plug the website, armchairpodcast.com. I'm gonna keep adding more and more good stuff to it, and we hope you guys like it. And yeah, any final words for Mace?
Fill out. Good luck on the brackets. March Madness.
Happy March Madness. Happy St. Patty's. And have a great week, y'all.
That's the show for this week. Check out Armchair Analyst on Twitter at AA Podcasts, on YouTube, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows. If this wasn't enough, be sure to check out armchairpodcast.com for more. See you next week.